Another one to go through. I wasn't sure if I needed I wasn't sure if I wanted to get another Megatoon, just especially of Red Eyes Black Dragon, especially since I already own the very large Mega House holographic Red Eyes Black Dragon. I couldn't really call myself a Red Eyes Black Dragon fan if I didn't get all the merchandise surrounding him, so here we are. Now this figure, just like the Blue Eyes White Dragon, is simple and to the point, and they really did get the coloring spot on. The dark gray colorway of Black Dragon, accompanied by the metallic horns and claws, really bring this figure together, with the cute red eyes signifying that he is indeed a Red Eyes Black Dragon. It's a very well executed, chibi-fied version of Red Eyes Black Dragon, with that Toon World charm that I personally enjoy. It's pretty much exactly what Mega House advertised, a counterpart to Blue Eyes White Dragon, but toonified. I think the last time I really played Yu-Gi-Oh! Casually was around... I got into it at around GX, and I got out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right at the end of 5Ds. So, I'm not super familiar with some of the cards that were introduced. I always thought that she was absolutely adorable. When she got a scale figure announcement, I knew that she was going to have to join the collection, whether I am heavily invested in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or not. I was just a really big fan of her aesthetic overall. Ooh. I am already losing pieces. Alright. Now here we have a very simple base, nothing to write home about, but it gets right to the point of what it's supposed to be. Right there. Now, first off, this figure is just as amazing as I anticipated it would be. AmiAmi really didn't pull their punches with sculpting this figure, and it is very obvious to see. First of all, her face. Extremely expressive. And they did an amazing job with her mouth sculpt. They really made sure to sculpt the hair underneath as well. The bangs are still sculpted in such a way that they still look natural on this figure without the hats. And now I love the sculpting that they did for the rest of her outfit. It's pretty much one-to-one to the card art. They really took a very simple outfit and elevated it with a remarkable attention to detail to the paintwork, the colors used. Now finally, I'm very happy that AmiAmi made the decision to include Sangin with this figure. He's just a cute little guy. I really do like how he has the triple binoculars. It's just a very nice addition, a very nice bonus, I would say. And now my final figure, and my most anticipated pre-order, is Hina from Blue Archive. And now this figure, it was almost, I would even say that she was almost Grail level, where I needed her. I needed her in my collection because she was my first 3-star attacker in Blue Archive, and I kind of just fell in love with her design. But my struggle was the fact that I missed her pre-order window. And, well, I'll even be honest, I didn't know that her pre-order even existed. Again, I was really early into playing Blue Archive, and I wasn't quite sure I was going to start collecting figures from that game. But it did disappoint me a lot. So by the time she made it to the aftermarket, she had risen in price so quickly. I believe that she released close to $200, and by the time the aftermarket kicked in, she was selling for as high as $600 new. But lo and behold, Beeful decided to re-release her. Now we have yet another very bare bones display plate, and I'm going to be very careful with taking her out of the box because I have heard online that her wings are quite delicate. I feel like I'm I'm working with fine china right now. At the very least, her assembly is very simple, but dang. Now I will say, this figure of Hina has me incredibly torn. In some ways, I think this figure is absolutely fantastic, near perfect. But in other ways, I'm a little bit doubtful about her quality. Beeful made Hina's face a little too flat. Like, I don't really see much sculpting of her mouth or lips. I don't really see a lot of life in her face. I feel like it should still be... It's hard to explain, but I feel like it could be more expressive. Deadpanly expressive. I think that the gold pieces are a little cheap looking. The paint isn't as refined as I would expect on such a premium figure like this one. Overall, like, it's a great figure. I would compare the quality similar to like a Kotobukiya figure. However, the pricing is insane. I really can't get behind the phoning in of some aspects of this figure. Just because she's Hina doesn't mean she should be, you know, over 30,000 yen. But I digress. When I get down to her wings, I do love the design. They captured the design of her really long and wide wingspan. Though it does fill me with a little bit of worry about potential breakage or bending simply because they're connected at one point underneath her skirt, and the likelihood of it breaking from accidental drops or bumps is frighteningly high. I would probably display her in a position that her wings are level to the ground that she is standing on, like level with the base. I wouldn't keep her raised like I have her on display right now, just because I'm not sure how gravity will affect her over time. I kind of wouldn't recommend her for every collection. She would be a must-have for a lot of Blue Archive fans, but for your standard collector, it might be a little too much work in the long run. Her quality just isn't as great as I would expect of a figure of her price range. So, and I feel very sad to be the one to be talking about this, especially because I really do love Hina's design, but I would wait for other manufacturers to take a crack at it, because I think Good Smile will do a much better job on the overall sculpt than Beeful was able to do. And with that, that's the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya!